Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades, and welcome back. And what are we getting back into, or what are we going to get into this time? I am going to get into the creation from Ratman called Supacell. It's a new Netflix series, 6 episodes so far, and let me tell you, when I binge watched those episodes, I binge watched those episodes. But I really just wanted to get my take, get my feel, get my view, my view out in regards to the new Netflix series Supacell. And I really hope to God, because it's number 1 on the UK chart at the moment on our Netflix. It's our UK number 1 movie at the moment, or should I say series. And I hope to God that Netflix actually buys in for another series at the end of the day, because this, I love it. The concept, everything about it, I love it. So we are met with 5 individuals: Taser, Michael, Sabrina, Rodney and Andre. So we kind of follow their lives as they each intertwine into each other's life. But each of them are a child of a parent or somebody that they've known within their family that has sickle cell. So basically what it is we already know when it comes to sickle cell that yes, it can impact other minorities, but it majority impacts the Black and Caribbean and African families basically. So within this, some of these children probably haven't picked up the trait, haven't picked up sickle cell in any way, shape or form, but what the sickle cell has done is mutated into giving them powers, which is why it's called the Supacell basically. So we know that Taser can go ghost, so that boy can disappear. Michael can freeze time and he can teleport. And Sabrina can move things, but in the future, what's been seen when we get to that, she can fly as well. So it's kind of like they start to build upon different aspects of their power as they get used to controlling it. Rodney has super speed, but also can heal himself when he's hurt. And Andre at the moment has super strength, right? So it's set in the inner workings of South London, where Ratman is from. So it's all those types of areas. He wanted to bring it back to the people them in his hometown. He didn't want to be no blockbuster where to go to like a place and do things there. Now he wanted it to take place and be filmed in his spaces that he knows. So I have to say, the setting, everything brilliant. So it depicts what certain people, and we know what certain people will do within the Black community and to Black people underground, under the guise of helping the community, because nobody really cares about the estate where these people are from at the end of the day. Because the issue in this estate is that there's a lot of drug activity going on, and there's a lot of gang activity going on basically. And the most prominent gangs within this one is the Sixers and the Tower Boys. Taser is basically the head of the Tower Boys, or the leader as I should say, because the previous leader, or the one he did used to call brother, called Crazy, aka Craig, was in prison basically for 30 odd years. So you see Michael, and he comes into his powers basically while he's getting down and dirty with his girlfriend Dion, well now his fiance, because he did ask her to marry him. And he manages to teleport into the future. So this is where this situation starts to kind of make sense, because I would say it's quite slow in the beginning, because you're trying to piece together what the hell is happening. Because in the beginning, I will jump back, I will be jumping back and forth. I'm not going to go as I used to go episode by episode. I just wanted to do a whole like flavorful view and this breakdown and discussion of what I've watched over the whole of those 6 episodes. So in the first episode, you see kind of like it leading in to these people being locked up. Now they're all Black people that are being locked up basically, but you're concentrating on this older Black woman. Now we don't know who this older Black woman is at this point in time. So you see her running through these maze of corridors, literally trying to get out. Now she's trying to find a way out, and it isn't until the security pick her up on camera that he's able to alert, someone is loose. So she gets to a door that she really can't get out of. So her eyes go like a kind of hazily colour, but very bright hazily colour, and then she's able to rip the door off its hinges without touching it. So now we know that, you know what, she is a supercell, okay? And just before my girl can get to the edge of the taste of freedom, because she can feel that freedom, the sunshine, the birds chirping, she can hear all of that, they shoot her in her back. So they kill her dead before she can get back to freedom, yeah? So it's the undignified way in which they treated this woman afterwards, because they just drag her back through the corridor, bearing in mind that all these guards are white, yeah, and she's black, and all the people locked up underground, yeah, because of their powers that they're testing on and doing all these things to are black people, okay? So keep that in mind when you're watching this too, okay? So they literally drag her back by her legs, blood trailing behind her, as they literally send a message to the others, as they literally drag her past them, like, because it's a clear perspex glass that they can see, but they just can't get out of the room, so they're trapped, and they can see them drag this poor woman back. So as it moves on from there, as I said, Michael ends up transporting himself to the future right in front of Dion's eyes. So Dion, his fiance, is freaking the fuck out, because she's like, hold on a minute, 1 minute he was here, next minute his eyes shone bright, and then he kind of disappeared right in front of me. So she don't know what the fuck's going on right now. Bearing in mind, only some certain people end up with the powers. Not all of the black people get these powers. So he witnesses a very different type of London, where it's literally like there's nobody around except for Sabrina, except for Taser, Rodney, and Andre. Now he sees a guy standing at this portal that's opening up with these people in black hoodies, basically, so you can't see these people's faces, they're just coming out, and it's kind of electrified. Now he sees this person coming out, and as that person coming out, there's a person stood directly in front of it. So when that person turns around, Michael then realizes it's himself, like in the future himself. So Michael's there thinking, what the fuck, what is going on here? And I'm like, okay, so this bit is literally telling Michael something. So he manages to freeze time, takes him out of the situation, and literally shows him the grave of his girlfriend, who basically dies on the 9th of July, which is about 3 months away from where Michael is from at the moment. So the guy literally telling him, you need to take down these names, you need to find these people, because together you are stronger, together you'll be able to beat this entity that is coming after them, that is literally kidnapping people off the streets in order to test them, in order to change them into little foot soldiers. So, you know, to do this establishment's bidding, basically. So Michael then comes back, and Dion, as you can tell, she'll be all over the place, basically. So it's now tasked to Michael to find these people and convince them to work with him. Let's just put it this way, it was not easy motherfucking going at the end of the day, because each and every one of them had their own little issues going on. But it's the ominous people in the hoods that will keep coming for them, because these people in this establishment, yeah, these white people in this establishment keep thinking of these 5 people as their assets. Bearing in mind they're human beings, bearing in mind they came into their power naturally. So it's kind of like, as a black person gains power, gains traction, gains anything, someone will always want to come along to take it away and put them in their place, or basically take it away to test it, to try and gain knowledge of it, and then to try and make themselves the same way. But it doesn't necessarily work for them that way, because they will see these black people basically as subhuman. They're treated as subhuman people and people to be acquired. So again, remember that when you're watching it, okay, because you will start to see these little things, and your brain will start synapsing with each other. Taser is a young lad, he's a gangbanger basically, and his background, he lives with his grandmother, and his mother's basically disappeared. It isn't until the time goes on that you actually realise, because Dion, Michael's fiance, is a social worker, and there's certain clients within the deprived areas that she's working with, and it's only then that you realise, when you see the picture, that the person that was killed was actually Taser's mother. Now Taser believes that his mother's literally left them and disappeared, and that's why he wants nothing to do with her. So his grandmother brought him up basically. So as you start to know a little bit more about the main characters, you start to get to know a little bit more about the people that are locked up underneath this dungeon with walls basically called A-Town. So they focus on one young girl called Jasmine. So basically she was taken not to be found again by her parents, but in the flip side for them is that it was her parents that allowed her to go, because these parents sold the parents this glorified version of they're going to cure their daughter basically, because it does come out during that Jasmine is a healer. She can heal people, and her dad is the one that had sickle cell, and he says that he just remembers her eyes lighting up. She's touched him and the sickle cell disappeared. That's how she became the attention of these people, and I think how they kind of realized that actually there's these people out there that actually may have mutations within their cells that's making them be this way, and they wanted to study it, take it for themselves and study it basically. So the way in which they've done that is by this full-on health accessible health, I think it's all privatized health service, yeah, spearheaded by a white woman. So you tell me what any one white woman will know about sickle cell within the black community, yeah. And what she does is she's spearheaded this towards the black community, especially those in deprived areas, to under the guise of, you know, giving them better treatment, giving them a better medication, giving them a better outlook on life when it comes to them and their sickle cell. But really what it is a front for them to try and find these supercelled beings, because they know it's coming from a mutation with sickle cell. So if the person or the parent is going in to this service and they've got children, they'll be able to check and see whether these children have the mutation, and then basically whip these people out from underneath their eyes. But there's some that are living out in the open basically that they don't know about. And to be fair, when it came to Taser, when it came to Michael, when it came to Sabrina, when it came to Rodney, and when it came to Andre, these people were flying under the radar. They were not aware of them at all until their powers started to manifest and started to be shown in public, because it just happens just like that. And if you know, within it they have these cameras dotted all over the place, just watching these people. And the cameras that are dotted all over the place are only within the black communities. They ain't policed nowhere else, it's only within the black communities. So again, how they're hunting for people to do what they need to do to people. So you see, Michael is in his endeavour to try and get all these people together and try and save Dion before she dies. That's his main goal within all of this. But all I'm going to say is that my belief is that once that fate is sealed, I don't believe Michael would have been able to change Dion's outcome, no matter how hard he tried. I think even if he did happen to save her, there's going to come another time where she'll probably lose her life in another scenario, in another situation. So Dion, who's Michael's fiance, was kind of researching a lot, and then realised that Temmie, Taser's mom, and Jasmine, the young girl who I said was this healer, and who they used to heal people all the time, were taken for being different. And she's kind of delving into things that could get her killed. And that is always why I think as well that part of the reason I think her dying was of design, basically, because she was finding out too much and leaking that information back to Michael. She doesn't realise how twisted these people are in terms of them wanting to retrieve Michael, Taser and the rest of them, and they've kind of got eyes everywhere. So Michael got his powers through his mum, because his mum does have sickle cell. So the spearheading people who are looking for these super cells, Michael ended up allowing for his mum to be taken into their care, basically, because Michael doesn't realise who the head of the snake is that he's got to chop, and Michael doesn't realise this at all. All Michael is on about, it's focused on at the moment, is getting these people together, to basically try and save Dion. That's all he's thinking about. He's not thinking about that there's other people out there that will need saving. There's other people out there that are being locked up, or people being taken to become one of their foot soldiers in order to wage this war against other people who are Supacell and people who probably will not go with them willingly. So let's just say Michael looking for the others ain't easy at all. Ain't easy at all. So, as I've told you before about this guy called Crazy. Crazy was at least doing 35 years in prison, but was able to get out. But at this point, we're kind of thinking, well, how did he manage that? I'm telling you, it's going to be a twist for you, like when you realise who Crazy is, basically, and who it actually works for. But this doesn't necessarily come out until the very last episodes. So Taser and his people have the bright idea to rob one of the elders who's part of Crazy's group for drugs, because they've got no money, and basically now the Sixers are out of commission. They basically want to take over their patch, their land, their this and their that. And you know, drugs is, it's going to come with the commodities. So drugs is the currency in that place. It didn't go so well for them, because Tiny, who ended up setting up the meeting, didn't realise what was happening and what was going to come of it, but Tiny knew that there'll be consequences from the actions that they took. This is when they do realise that Crazy is out of jail, ends up beating one of the elders' asses in front of Crazy, basically. And then as they're celebrating and Tiny's standing up, Tiny gets shot in the back by Crazy. And then that's where situations started to boil over, because Taser was just like, yeah, I've had enough of you sort of scenario, and basically wanted to be rid of Crazy. So I'm just like, at this moment in time, if you have watched this show, do you get the deeper meaning of what this show was trying to tell you? So my view is that, you know, the melanated people are the ones with the power. It's great that that's happened, because it's self-representation for us in that sense, because we get to see ourselves placed in a hierarchy of honor, basically. But on the flip side, we're always constantly going to be hunted down by the other people, okay? And it's the demographic of those people that always infiltrate the black communities or people of colour's communities to do harm. And now those types of people have figured out there's this mutation that makes us melanated people as strong as Helen Special and Gifted. And they want to prey upon that community, leading to the kidnapping of younger and older people. And people, even though they've put out flyers to say they've gone missing, nobody's necessarily looking for them. Nobody's particularly bothered about that group of people because of the environment that they live in, with the drug wars, with the gang wars, with the knife wars, with the gun wars. They're not particularly bothered at the end of the day. So that's how they're able to like ride under the radar and get away with what it is that they're getting away with. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? So hopefully you would have watched this series and figured shit out on your own, basically, as to the hidden messages within each of these episodes. So as it carries on, it shows you that they take people like Crazy, and what they do is they get them to do their bidding, which is infiltrate the community that they already come from, to support them to capture and hold other black people, okay, to do what it is they need to do. And when they do that, they get rewarded with a status within that community. They get rewarded as Crazy does within the status within his gang, within the status within the drug world, and X, Y, and Z. Now, Crazy believes that he's the top honcho, that he's the top dog, that he can get away with everything. And he realises in the end that he actually doesn't get away with shit, because when he doesn't pay the piper how they think he should, his life becomes surplus to requirements at the end of the day. And that's normally what happens when you deal with people like that. Let me just put it that way. And then you will soon realise who is actually the head honcho of all of this shit, who is running the actual show. I'm not going to put it out there because I actually want you to go watch it. Actually want you to form your own views on it, form how you felt about watching it, because I swear to God, I really loved it. I really did. So have you seen there's the cameras within the whole of the city, so they know who they're going to target. So they're going to target Michael, they're going to target Taser, they're going to target Andre, they're going to target Sabrina, and they're going to target Rodney, because basically, as it appears in the future, their powers become more powerful than they've ever seen before. But when they're together, they are a lot stronger, and that's what they need. Basically, they need to separate. They're trying to separate them so they can't become that strong supercell that is needed in order to defeat the bullshit of these people that are trying to take over. So you see, Rodney does have a family, because he is a young mixed boy, and it appears his mother basically got rid of him. But apparently the guy that his mother decided to build a house with is a racist arsehole, basically. And this is what Rodney talks about with her in regards to him wanting to have that relationship with his mother, but she's not allowing that relationship because of the husband, basically, because Rodney is too black for his aesthetic. But when it came to Rodney, never the twain shall meet for them two. So Rodney is kind of a little selfish at the beginning, because he uses his power to gain money. He's in the weed business with his friend Spud. Michael does happen to find Rodney and try to speak to him to get him into the situation, to try and help him get the others. But Rodney wouldn't do it, even though Spud was trying to tell him that he should have helped Michael. But then it comes to a point where actually, after something bad happens to Rodney's friend Spud, he then needs Michael's help in order to get everybody else into the situation that he's been talking about. You do see, in essence, when it comes to Taser's mom, that they do have her body still, and they're harvesting the blood from the mother's body. So it looks like they're going to try and do something with this blood, and I was thinking maybe they're going to try and make an army of their own supercells, try and study it on how they can give that cell to, their people, and see how that will work for them. Because you know what, certain people always want to covet power from others. Let's just put it that way. So Andre has a son called AJ, and it looks like Braggs, who is part of Crazy's constituency, is trying to recruit him, and Andre is not liking that in the slightest. The story doesn't end too well for Andre, because as him and his son are getting closer, there's a situation that occurs when Andre is going to meet, I think, Michael and Rodney to talk about the situation and why they do need to get together and show him that they're supercell people as well. Andre ends up getting taken by those with no name. Do you know what I mean? He ends up getting taken by them, and he doesn't come back necessarily until it comes to coming to the end of the last episode, and you see what entails there and what happens in that episode itself. And in regards to AJ, he did go to his dad's to try and speak to him, to try and have this conversation with him. But the night before, his dad went on a covert kind of mission to try and rob the safe that was in Crazy's little, they're not called crack dens. What are they called? I can't remember what they're called, but you know what I mean, where they do all the crack and deal out the weed and put the money down. Well, in his little den of iniquity, I shall call it, that's where he went. They end up going back to attack the place, to rob the safe. That's when Andre meets Rodney, and he meets up with Sabrina and realizes that they're all supercelled people. He ends up taking a safe home. Hasn't opened it at that point. He crashes out, because what happens when it comes to supercell people, once they exert so much energy, they literally need to sleep to recharge. So once they crash, and they don't wake up for nothing, don't hear no sounds going off, people talking to them or anything like that. So that's kind of what happened with AJ when he was trying to talk to his dad. He could hear the TV on in the flat, but his dad wasn't moving or acknowledging him. But it wasn't because he wanted to, it's because he's literally crashed out because he exerted his energy. So AJ took that as his dad not wanting anything to do with him. So he basically ends up going into Bragg's fold, And you do see AJ at the end in this underground cavern called A-Town, basically, and he's beginning to like sell drugs under there and, you know, run for the man then, which is what his father would not have wanted for him. So in this well as well, Sabrina has the powers but her sister doesn't. So Sabrina ends up saving her sister, as it looks like an agent was deployed from, you know, these people higher up called Kadeem. Some of the supercells can be hella evil. So Kadeem was one of those evil supercells, basically. So as normal, her sister got into some type of sticky situation with the dude, and her sister went and helped her. So what had happened is Kadeem ended up flying to try and catch these girls, and Sabrina's sister was like, the fuck? And they both started running. So then as he flew down, her sister's eyes also glowed, and she kind of pushed him into the wall and basically killed the dude. And then she kind of had to explain to her sister what happens with her powers, because she tried to explain it to her sister before, but her sister did not believe her in the slightest. So when Sabrina ends up going back to the place where the body was, it was all cleared up. There was not even sight of anything had happened there in the slightest. So these people who keep watching out for Supercell people believed, as Sabrina's sister was the last person to come out of the door with Kadeem, that's why they then believed that she was the one that held the powers. And yes, you've guessed it correctly, they do end up kidnapping the girl. So basically it does come down to a full-on showdown. And it ends up being between the four of them, with some of the other hooded ones, and also Crazy. Now, what I didn't clock on to the fact is that Crazy is a supercell as well, and his power is being able to take powers from others and use them as his own by touch. And due to that, Michael is able to see into the future on how it would play out, because all four of them were stood there, and Crazy was ready to go in for the fight, basically, but Michael could see each strategic plan of each one of them, of what would happen if they went down the path that Crazy could see, because basically they'd all end up dying. So Michael was able to preempt all of that and twist it on Crazy and work out to where Crazy was almost at death's door. He then manages to pick up a gun and shoot. It missed the target of where it was supposed to go and went through the windscreen of the car where Dion was sat in. So that's why I said Michael couldn't change that direction of what was meant for Dion at that point in time, but it was her death that basically galvanizes him and the rest of them into action. So this is why I'm saying, you know what, there can't be this cliffhanger left for too long. Ratman needs to come out with the other episodes, like, seriously, because I need to see what happens next, especially if they manage to take down this whole establishment and save the rest of them that are locked up in their basement getting tested on. Anyway, that is far as I can take it for this one. I hope you did like this review, this insight, this look down and everything like that. It starts off slow, I would say. It does start off slow, as I said in the beginning, but it does pick up and it does get very interesting, especially if you can see the hidden messages within each episode as it goes along. But your eyes have got to be wide awake to see those hidden messages of what I'm talking about. Okay. But I'll be back soon with some other videos, especially as Love is Blind UK is coming very, very soon. I'll be back on your screens for that one. So as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm doing videos, and I'll be back across your screens very, very soon. Peace out.